The opponent sends out Shadow Gramble and we answer with Wallface, aka public enemy number one. If this opponent's looking for that toxic, fast move beatdown, they're unfortunately going to be the ones on the receiving end. Bastiodon shields once, Smackdown farms all the way down. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been around for a while, you'll know that my least favourite Pokemon in the entire world is Bastiodon, aka Wallface, or public enemy number one. I absolutely despise this Pokemon. However, it was recently released in its shadow form, and today we're going to see it in action, courtesy of one of my Discord moderators, Zay Mustache. Zay is a highly skilled battler from Portugal, and today he is running, in my opinion, a very toxic but very effective team with Shadpw Dragonair and Shadow Poliwrath. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we lead Shadpw Dragonair into Licky, far too thicky. We see the immediate pivot into Poliwrath, and we go into town with the count as the opponent chip us with the body slam. They continue to stay in and then send out their own Poliwrath. Zay fires off the Icy Wind, looking to force that immediate debuff. As we have now lowered Poliwrath's attack, the opponent's going to be unable to counter Farmer's down before we make one further charge move. Zay, recognising he's only going to reach one further move, fires off the Scald, and just like that, we take back switch. The opponent sends back out Licky, far too thicky, and here comes our first look at Wallface. Zay's Bastiodon is actually underleveled. It needs around 7 more power-ups, but despite that, it has bulk for days. The opponent fires off the neutral Power Whip, and Bastiodon doesn't give a shit. The opponent continues to stay in. Hello trainer, are you weak? The opponent fires off one more Power Whip. They're not wanting to get farmed down, pivot out into Gligar. Typing advantage with the opponent, but despite that, we land the Stone Edge, and it looks like the opponent is going to have the opportunity to save 2 shields for next season. We send out Dragonair, Dragon Breath farm down Gligar, Dragon Breath farm down Licky, far too thicky, and we're off to a 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we've got some Dragon on Dragon action. Both trainers tearing each other apart with the oppressive fast move pressure. Zay farms up, fires off the body slam, forced to protect shield, and despite that, we still manage to farm down. Holy. The opponent now sends out Metachan. That is a bit of a problem for the remainder of our team. However, Zay has a 2-to-1 shield advantage. We send out Poliwrath, go straight for the Icy Wind, forced to protect shield. Zay instantly commits a shield on the potential Psychic. However, this savage of an opponent fires off the power-up punch, resetting that debuff, return their attack to neutral. Despite this only being another power-up punch with the instant shield deployed, as Zay absolutely wants no part of this Metachan on Bastiodon. We fire off the Scald lands for big damage on the CMP side, and Bastiodon is going to take a few boosted counters, and these are going to do huge damage. In comes Bastiodon, just 3 counters. Do a third of our HP. The opponent's final Pokemon is Licky. Far too thicky, but the question is, Licky, are you thick enough? Bastiodon fires off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge gets the opponent down to around half health with the residual smackdowns. The opponent going to be looking to reach the Power Whip, but Power Whip will not be lethal. Bastiodon, despite being at a health disadvantage, is going to be able to clutch up this game. GG's, and thanks for playing. It looks more like Licky, evidently not thick enough, and despite me hating Bastiodon, Licky is definitely up there on my dislike list. Moving on to the next battle, some more Dragon on Dragon crime. However, Altieri with the far superior stat product, well ahead in the fast move pressure. We fire off the body slam, forcing a protect shield. Zay going to take his 1 shield advantage, just allow Dragonair to come down, send in Bastiodon, and look to get ahead in energy. The opponent allows us to full Smackdown farm down. You can see the Dragon Breath did absolutely nothing. The opponent now send out Lantern, and Lantern is going to be greeted with the Stone Edge. Stone Edge lands for respectable damage. Despite being a shadow, Bastiodon still hits somewhat like a wet noodle. However, what it lacks in attack, it certainly makes up for in defense. That Surf did hit for super effective, but Bastiodon tanked it like a boss. The opponent then throw an alignment, allowing Zay a full free Smackdown with shield up the next Surf. Zay throws 3 Smackdowns and the Stone Edge for optimal fast move timing. The opponent completely sack Lantern and then send out Superior. Oof, this isn't really something that we want to see, but as they overfarm, we're able to reach the Flamethrower. Flamethrower forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and we now send out Poliwrath. Frenzy Plant will be one-shot, and Zay looks to call the bait. What a call, the opponent master bait with the Aerial Ace. Zay read the opponent like a book. He shields up the next Aerial Ace, returns fire with the Icy Wind, and Zay and his huge cojones are going to take that game. GG's. Zay keeps the win streak alive, heading into the next battle. We see the mirror, however I believe the opponent isn't Shadow. It's hard to tell as our Shadow animation does take up the majority of the screen. Zay farms up. It looks like we win charge move priority and the opponent indeed is not a Shadow and they also don't shield. Instead, the opponent opts to send out Trevenant, but at what cost, as Dragonair refuses to die, reaches the Aqua Tail, which is single resisted, and gets the opponent down below half health, then pivot out into Vigoroth, and we answer with Poliwrath. Zay, still with 2 Protect Shields, too high behind, not willing to shield up the first body slam. It looks like he's going for the 1 shield counter farm all the way down. Trevenant does have energy, and they're going to be forced to throw it, or they're going to be permanently debuffed by this Poliwrath. The opponent does indeed throw their energy. Zay opts to shield up the Seed Bomb, return fire with the Icy Wind, lowering Trevenant's attack. And this should be a fairly straightforward smackdown farm down all the way to the finish. The opponent recognise it, just let Trevenant go down, and we have managed to go a very quick 4-0, heading into battle number 5. Dragonair into Hypno. Not the worst lead, not the best, depends on the moveset. However, the opponent attempt to catch a charge move onto Shadpw Dragonair. The opponent might think they're the king of the fast move beatdown, but unfortunately this opponent is on the receiving end. We answer with Bastiodon, shield up the close combat, commit to the full smackdown farm down. The opponent now sends back out Hypno. We throw 1 smackdown, which is 3 turns, into 1 confusion, which is 4 turns for optimal fast move timing, land the Stone Edge, and the opponent is going to need to focus blast to take us out. Zay commits to Protect Shield. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball. Bastiodon, being a real pest, now commits to the full smackdown farm down, and the opponent says no thank you, I'm out of here, and Zay goes a very quick, very toxic 5-0. Heading in some bonus battles, we lead Shadpw Dragonair into Charjabug. A pretty nice lead as the Volt Switches are resisted, but let's not kid ourselves. Shadpw Dragonair can't really tank a hit, and X's does around 60% of our HP. The opponent now send out Lantern. We're happy to stay in. Fire off the Body Slam lands for decent neutral damage, getting Lantern below half health. The opponent looking for the full Spark farm down. And once again, Dragonair refuses to die, actually forces a Protect Shield. This opponent evidently not a fan of Poliwrath, as they've got Electric in the front and Electric in the middle. Surely this isn't some random triple arse Electric team. Bastiodon tanks the first Surf. We're going to see Zay commit a Protect Shield on Surf number 2, and then Bastiodon going to do what Bastiodon always does and commit to the full smackdown farm down. However, Lantern this time is the one refusing to die, able to reach 1 further Surf. The opponent then sent back out Charjabug, and Charjabug is greeted with a Stone Edge. Stone Edge forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Charjabug gonna return fire. At this stage, Bastiodon's far too low to start shielding. The resisted X's takes us out. The opponent immediately pivots out into Talonflame. Zay just needs to manage his energy well, and this should be game over. The opponent likely baits with the Flame Charge. They actually throw the Fly, but either way, Zay does not care. We shield up whatever they throw the Scald. Scald secures the knockout. We're going to be able to outpace Charjabug to the Icy Wind, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Shadpw Dragonair into Defense Deoxys. Immediate forces is probably triple counter, and if it is triple counter, Bastiodon has literally nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The opponent fires off the Psycho Boost, then dip into Wish Daddy Cash, which is also absolutely dreadful for Bastiodon. Zay fires off the Body Slam for some chip damage, then pivots out into Poliwrath. With that chip damage, Poliwrath should be able to counter farm all the way down. The opponent fire off the Mud Bomb. Poliwrath easily survives 1 and can survive a 2nd as well. Wish Cash now on a 5 cycle, so we need 5 counters to secure the knockout. Poliwrath does get the counter farm down. We leave with minimal farm and fire off the Scald. Scald gonna land for heavy damage. The opponent doesn't shield Deoxys, and they're left on a sliver of HP. The opponent only at a Psycho Boost as Zay absorbs the resisted damage onto Bastiodon. Holy cow, that did nothing. The opponent's final Pokemon is Shadow Gliscor, and we now find ourselves in the bait game. Zay shields the first one, and the opponent is not baiting. They full send the Earthquake. We return fire with the Stone Edge. Stone Edge, of course, forces a Protect Shield as the opponent needs to start shielding. Just look at the smackdown damage. These smackdowns tearing through Gligar. The opponent looking to farm up to 100 energy. Zay fires off the Stone Edge, pivots into Dragonair like a savage. This will be the Earthquake. As we've got no Protect Shields, the opponent only has a Night/Bank. We get the Smackdown Farm Down and Zay picks up a clutch dub. In the next battle, we see another opponent abusing this stupid brick wall. Dragonair doesn't have the best matchup here, however it isn't the worst as Dragon Breath, despite being resisted, is very oppressive and these Aqua Tails come thick and fast and hit back for super effective. Zay attempted to catch a Stone Edge onto Poliwrath and unfortunately were unsuccessful and were greeted with the Marshmallow Wigglytuff. Zay fires off the Scold. Scold forces a Protect Shield and applies that nice debuff effect. Zay now sends in his own Bastiodon and we're going to look to commit to the very aggressive Smackdown Farm Down. The opponent fire off the Icy Wind, lowering our attack. However, if anything, that just gives us even more farm. This annoying Marshmallow makes one further charge move, but Bastiodon honestly doesn't care. The Icy Wind probably heals us. We do get the full Smackdown Farm Down. Zay, with a 2-to-1 shield advantage, likely looks to reset his debuff. The opponent sends out Victory Bell, so we fire off the Flamethrower, even 2-stage debuff that lands for huge damage. The opponent then pivots back out into their own Wall Face and Wall Face is greeted with the Aqua Tail. The opponent commit that final Protect Shield and dump energy. Zay opts to shield up the incoming Stone Edge, recognising we're going to be able to reach one further Aqua Tail. It's going to be high Bastiodon, bye Bastiodon, get fucking wrecked. Just Victory Bell does remain and Dragonair is going to Dragon Breath Farm Down and take that game. In the next battle, Azumarill. Azumarill definitely beats all three of our Pokemon, so Zay gonna have to pull off some tricks here to pick up the dub. We stay in with Dragonair where our Dragon Breaths are double resisted and fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam lands with some decent chip damage. The opponent continue to farm up, allowing Dragonair to reach Body Slam number 2 and this Mighty Blue Mouse is now down below half health. We see Zay invest the Protect Shield on the incoming Ice Beam. Unfortunately, we're going to get outpaced to the next charge move, so stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We catch Ice Beam number 2 onto Poliwrath, but the issue is the opponent isn't quite in counter farm down range, so Zay is going to be forced to dump a charge move. Zay goes for the Scold. Scold does hit harder than Icy Wind, and the opponent opts to invest the Protect Shield, looking to force our final. Zay obliges, putting up that Protect Shield on the Poliwrath, and the opponent then send out Licky, far too thicky. Poliwrath able to reach the Scold on what looks like to be a CMP tie. Scold goes unshielded and it's CMP. Okay, this could be playable if Bastiodon's good against whatever's in the back. We send in Bastiodon. Bastiodon will get the full Smackdown Farm Down. However, unfortunately not before the opponent reaches a Power Whip before going down, but Bastiodon, incredibly thick, does not care. Bastiodon does get the full Smackdown Farm Down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Sandslash. We definitely need to make a catch. Zay fires off the Flamethrower. Flamethrower forces the opponent's final Protection. Switch Timer, where are you? Fuck, Switch Timer doesn't pop up. This Drill Run hits for double super effective, vanquishing us back to our Pokeball. Zay waiting out his clock. We still need to make a catch. The opponent did overfarm, and there it is, another catch. Oof, Zay pulling off all the tricks. Ice Punch does secure the knockout. We then overfarm, and it's the opponent that make the catch. What a game. Aqua Tail does secure the knockout, and unfortunately Sandslash is going to outpace us to the Ice Punch, and the opponent pulls off a very good game. GG's to both trainers. And that unfortunately is going to draw to a close today's showcase. Huge shout out to Zay Mustache. I'll be honest, buddy, when I saw Bastiodon, I was expecting to hate shoutcasting, but that was a lot of fun. Shadow Bastiodon, even underleveled, looks very, very oppressive in the Great League. And also, the gameplay IQ was very high, despite using a pretty toxic team. Zay showed why he's one of Portugal's very finest battlers, pulling off some incredible plays. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.